Hello, and welcome to my edition of Module H, the Traditional Standpoint. This is my compilation of Dr. Frim's lecture, kind of transformed into my own. So here goes. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, we have to pick up where we left off. So where did we leave off? We left off on Module G, Venn diagrams for categorical propositions, where this isn't really going to make sense when I say it out loud. Good thing we're going to use it in application though. We learn to differentiate universal propositions from particular propositions in a Venn diagram. So for universal propositions, which would be kind of A or E statements, we would shade. Again, this isn't making sense right now. It's going to though. For particular propositions, so these would be I or O statements, we would use a little X. Caroline, what are you talking about? Good thing I'm going to show you. No worms have earrings. That's our statement. That's an E statement, okay? That would look a little something like this. So in this little Venn diagram, the S, worms, P, earrings, okay? So this would imply that there's no worms have earrings, implies that there's no world that exists where worms have earrings. Okay, so hence why that's shaded out there. That's shaded out in the middle because they do not exist together. Let's continue. It is false that no worms have earrings. Okay, let's kind of look at this traditionally. That may look a little something like this. It is false that no worms have earrings. That implies that there are worms that have earrings. So we would put a little X there. If you're feeling a little crazy, we would put a little X there, okay? Let's move on. Because universal propositions can have existential import, Venn diagrams are only different for universal statements. Again, whoa, Caroline, what are you talking about? Good thing I'm about to show you. Okay, so we're going to look at these two statements between the modern standpoint and the traditional standpoint, okay? I'm going to go ahead and make these little diagrams for you. Now, I'm not Van Gogh, okay? The little circle on the left, these are going to be the Chihuahuas, okay? These are going to be the Chihuahuas. The little circles on the right are going to be dogs. Ooh la la, okay? Let's keep going. So, through the modern standpoint, all Chihuahuas are dogs. We're going to shade out the Chihuahua circle. That does not include dogs because all Chihuahuas are dogs. That statement implies that there, again, is no world in which Chihuahuas exist that are not dogs. Let's move to the traditional, okay? All Chihuahuas are dogs, so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to shade this out over here because there's no world where Chihuahuas exist where they are not dogs, okay? But all Chihuahuas are dogs. That would imply that something kind of exists here where Chihuahuas are dogs, where Chihuahuas exist because they are dogs, right? Correct. Let's continue. No Chihuahuas are dogs through the modern standpoint. We're gonna shade this out right in the center because no Chihuahuas are dogs. That doesn't. Okay, let's go back to the no worms have earrings. Same concept. Traditional standpoint. We're gonna shade this out in the middle again. No Chihuahuas are dogs. They don't exist. Nothing can exist here. But that implies that Chihuahuas exist over here, right? Let's see where this can take us. Now we come back to the square of opposition, again, our old friend, where I'm going to show you this nice little blurry square of opposition I found on Google, okay? But you're probably wondering, you're like, Caroline, what are all of these terms? What are all of these terms around my friendly square of opposition? I don't know what this stuff means, Caroline. Okay, like relax, I'm going to show you. Well, we're not talking about these right now. We're talking about subalternation. What's going on here? I don't know. Okay, well, I'm going to explain it to you. Subalternation refers to a relationship between A and I statements and E and O statements, okay? Where the truth flows down, falsity flows up. Again, Caroline, what are you talking about? Let me show you. So now we have a little bit more of a polite square of opposition, okay? And I'm gonna show you an example. All Chihuahuas are cuddlers, okay? Therefore, some cuddlers are Chihuahuas. Let's break that down. All Chihuahuas are cuddlers. Okay, that's an A statement. Therefore, some cuddlers are Chihuahuas. That brings it. Oh, would you look at that? Would you look at that? Wow, that's awesome. What is that? Why is that example in red text? I'm here to show you. It is false that some Chihuahuas are telepathic. Therefore, it is false that no Chihuahuas are telepathic. Hold on, slow down. Let's break that down. It is false that some Chihuahuas are telepathic. Some Chihuahuas are telepathic. So some SRP. I statement question mark? Let's go with I statement. That's an I statement. Falsity. False. That kind of goes up. The truth comes down. Like, you know what I'm saying? What are we doing here? It is false that some Chihuahuas are telepathic. Therefore, it is false that. Wait. It is false. Therefore, it is false. You already lost me. You already lost me with this. So what is that? That is an illicit subalternate. That's not correct. Everyone boo. Boo, boo, boo. Moving on. Now we're back to our blurry, friendly one, okay? So we've kind of already covered these. All right, we know what these mean. What are we doing? Contrary. Contrary. So this describes the relationship between A statements and E statements, in which one of them must be false. Keyword must. All right? All right. All Chihuahuas are aggressive. All right? That's an A statement. All SRP. Boom. Let's continue. Therefore, it is false that no Chihuahuas are aggressive. It is false. Therefore, it is false that no. So if this is supposed to be an E statement, okay, do you understand? Do you get what I'm getting at? No SRP. It is false that no SRP, thus making the E statement false. So boom. We have a valid contrary right here. Let's continue. Uh-oh. The red font is back. All Chihuahuas are skilled attorneys. All Chihuahuas are skilled. Okay, A statement. Let's continue. Therefore, no skilled attorneys are Chihuahuas. These both sound like true statements. All SRP? No SRP? No PR. Boo, 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 boo. Let's move on. Uh-oh. What's going on? So, what do we do with a false A statement? What do we do? What do we do? Obama, don't be scared. I will show you. So with a false A statement, how would we move? So if A here is false, so subalternation is immediately thrown out the window because the truth, look at this, the truth goes down. The truth goes down, but A is false. It's not true. How would this work? How would this work? One must force the truth of the other, but if A is already false, we got to throw this out the window. We have to throw it out the window. But hold on. If A is false, contradictory, thus making O true. Thus making O true. All right. Crisis averted. Obama, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Moving on. So we have already covered subalternation, contrary. So what is this? The subcontrary relationship between the I and the O statements establishes that one must be true. These statements are only written as false statements. Caroline, you're confusing me again. What does that mean? Don't be scared. I'm going to show you. So now we're back to our polite little square. Okay, we have an example. It is false that some Chihuahuas are ugly. So do you see what I'm saying? It is false. These are only written as false statements. So we have an I statement right here. Okay? Therefore, some Chihuahuas are not ugly. So if the subcontrary relationship means that at least one must be true, it seems as though both of these statements are true. It is false that some Chihuahuas are ugly, some SRP. Therefore, some chihuahuas are not ugly. Some S are not P. Oh, checks out. Checks out. That red font. What are we going to do? It is false that some chihuahuas are 300 pounds. All right? Interesting creative direction, but let's continue. It is false that some chihuahuas are 300 pounds. Okay? I statement. Where do we go from there? Therefore, it is false that some chihuahuas are not 300 pounds. So, this is where it gets a little tricky. At first glance, it may seem some S are P, all right, that checks out. Some S are not P, that sort of checks out. But if one must force you to believe the other, what? Do you know any chihuahuas that are really 300 pounds, or you're really questioning if they're 300 pounds? You don't. One is implying the truth of the other. This, if you think about it, we gotta throw this out the window too. Invalid. Boo, 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 boo. Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny, what's going on? Bad Bunny, why are you upset? Why are you upset? Oh, Bad Bunny just said to me, what do we do if we have a true I statement? Bad Bunny, don't be upset. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. We have our good, handy, dandy, blurry square opposition. Again, we got to throw this out the window. We have to throw this out the window. The truth doesn't move up. The truth doesn't rise. Only the false rises. So we have to throw that out the window. Okay? Contrary, if this is true, then again, if the I statement is inherently true, it kind of you're really throwing a wild card here. Here, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So in the event that we have a true I statement, all that we have left is the contradictory, which would make our E statement false. Okay, moving on. Now we have the existential fallacy. What the heck is that? So this relates around the edges of our beloved square of opposition, and this fallacy only exists when the subject is not real. Okay, so when we are talking about subalternation, contrary, and subcontrary relationships between all of these statements, but the topic at hand is this guy. This guy. You kind of, all of this stuff goes out the window. All of it goes out the window because he's not real. He's not real. Let's use this in an example, okay? So all Minecraft Ender Dragons are mobs that want to kill you. That's our statement. All Minecraft Ender Dragons are mobs that want to kill you. Therefore, some Minecraft Ender Dragons are mobs that want to kill you. So this sounds like subalternation. This sounds like subalternation. We're talking about this guy, and we're talking about how this guy lives in this realm, and you have to play the whole game to get to this realm. And after you beat this realm, then you kind of consider to have beat the game, but hold on. Hold on. Hold on. This isn't real. It's not real. It's a valid statement. It's a valid relationship of subalternation, but it's not real. It's not real. Thus, existential fallacy. And that is what an existential fallacy is. There's nothing else to it. And that essentially concludes my presentation. If you have watched to the end of this, I sincerely appreciate your time and your energy. And I would like to clarify that this minion is ready to take quiz 8. Well, allow me to correct myself. This minion is ready to take quiz 8. And I hope to have captured the articulate nature of the original lectures, and I hope to have clearly communicated the ideas in a way that is true to the topics. And thank you for your time.